Good evening, everybody. Without wasting any time, I request Swami Suparnanandaji, Secretary Maharaj at Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Golpark, to give a very brief welcome address. Then we'll go into the next part of the program.
Om Jananing Sharadang Deving Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadmitayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. I welcome, heartily welcome Sri M in our midst this evening. He used to make the annual travel to Bengal, especially to Kolkata, and addresses you. He is a very fascinating personality, unusually fascinating because he single-handed, I should say, affords our Indian culture and spirituality. First of all, he himself is an embodiment of what is written in the Shastras or scriptures, and he has been taking tremendous joy, even in the midst of sufferings, by visiting every part of India, in instilling these ideas into the very hearts of his listeners. I'm yet to call them disciples, but to all practical purposes, they are the disciples, and they respect him like that, as Guru, a spiritual teacher, a yoga teacher. And what sort of a teacher he is. He is like that sort of person. I should say a soul who feels that he is not a body, he is a soul, who can hardly be surpassed in humbleness, in decency, and in generosity. And I would request all of you present over here, not very much, not very, so much I should say, very more, but only a few, handful of people, ardent disciples, I should say, are present over here, because in a short notice, you have arrived over here. I request you to emulate at least these qualities, this humbleness, this decency, this generosity, this unselfishness. So you have to undertake so much of trouble in order to help others. Help others. And helping others presupposes helping yourself. And in what kind of help you are to give to yourself. You ask yourself, what kind of help I can emulate from the lives of the great? Unselfishness. You be all good people, be unselfish. I won't stand between you and Sri M anymore. I simply pray that Sri M's may convert this evening into a divine evening, an ecstatic evening for all of you, including myself. With these few words, I take leave of you, and if you allow me to quote a passage from Swamiji's letter, if you have any time to listen, then I would read it out. Would you? So, while coming right now, I took it down. Swamiji wrote in a letter, if in the hell of a world, this world is hellish, if in this hell of a world, you can bring a little joy and peace, even for a day, into the life of a single person, that much alone is true. This I have learned by suffering all my life. All else is moonshine. You know the Bengali meaning of moonshine? Ghoড়ার ডিম। আর সব ঘোড়ার ডিম। এই সংসার নরকে তুমি যদি একটুখানি আনন্দ এবং শান্তি দিতে পারো একদিনের জন্য একটিমাত্র মানুষের হৃদয়ে, সেটি জীবন ধরে যন্ত্রণার মধ্য দিয়ে গিয়ে all else is mere moonshine, বাকি সব ঘোড়ার ডিম। So be unselfish. Be charitable even to the extreme if it means death for you. So you have to undergo changes from within. A yoga does not come all on a sudden in your life unless you prepare it for decades together. Get ready for that. And then in a single birth, like Buddha, you will attain the liberation, nirvana, the aim of all yogas. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. The good thing is you don't need to introduce head of the family in front of the family. So they are all like our family members, and sitting next to me is the head of the family. So you know him, and I'm sure he also knows you. Although he might ask you often that what's your name. He actually knows all of you. Since it is said and perceived that everything gets started Shunya and it gets dissolved in Shunya also at the end. And the topic of today's interaction is books and beyond. I will start with his book called Shunya, his maiden novel, which is indeed a fascinating and intriguing one, because it's timeless, spaceless, and I don't know how to describe this book, but I was fascinated reading this book. So I will start by asking one question from Shunya. In Shunya, the chief protagonist is a character who, often it looks like he doesn't think. He sees and does whatever uh, comes to him at that moment. So, what is the importance of thought, or through his character Shunnu, did you want to break that myth that thinking is not always that important? Uh, or maybe I'm also reminded of the famous French philosopher and mathematician Descartes' quote that uh, I think, therefore I am. So, how important is this thinking part of it?
First of all, can you hear me? I pranams to Maharaj and thank you for allowing us to gather here, the Ramakrishna Mission, Golpark Institute of Culture. Yes, in a way, I know we are all friends, we know each other. Yeah, okay. This, when Ritvik Babu asked me yesterday, day before, whether he can tell me the questions he's going to ask me, I said, no, you don't tell me anything. I didn't know what he was going to ask. So this is new to me. I didn't think he would start with Shunya. But the character I have given in Shunya is partly a true person and partly fiction. I mean, in India, for instance, there have been great yogis and saints who are called avadutas. The avadutas look crazy, but they think that we are crazy. We think they are crazy, they think we are crazy. You'll say that once Sri Ramakrishna, Thakur Sri Ramakrishna told somebody that if you see a mad type of person coming and trying to eat the leftovers of the food, show him respect because we don't know whether he is mad or whether he is an avaduta. I'm not saying all madmen are avadutas, but many avadutas behave like madmen, want to keep people out and not interfere. Now, some of their actions are beyond ordinary thought. You asked me a question about thought. Now, there is ordinary thought and there is something beyond. Ordinary thought is our logical thought, which we say, okay, if this is here and I am here, I have to go like this. Linear.
Linear thinking.
This is our usual thinking. Even fuzzy logic again goes like this only. But what if the truth that we seek, if we are seeking, is everywhere? Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam. There is no place where it is not there. In that case, how can you approach it like this? Because you cannot approach it, it is right here. So when all approach stops, when all movement stops, then what remains should be the truth. Now in Shunya, you will find that all the conventional ways we think are broken by him. He broke and he threw it away. I also wrote in Shunya that Shunya's guru, he met his guru in the lunatic asylum. I mean, you can say fiction, you know. And there he got initiated and his guru said, get out. So he came out. They released him, so he came out. There is a case in Nagpur of a person called Tajuddin Baba, very famous. Everybody goes there, I know. Caste, creed, religion, no bar. Everybody goes to Tajuddin Baba's tomb. And Tajuddin Baba was a person who was in the army. He was in the British Army as a Jawan or something. Then the army thought that he is completely gone case. So they put him into the lunatic asylum in Nagpur. They had a problem. Lots of people used to come to meet him inside the hospital. Inside. So they said, release this guy, this is nuisance, and they released him. He went and sat under a tree. Now that is where his tomb is, that dargah is. In fact, he is so well known that he cuts across even thought processes. I was for the first time taken to Tajuddin Baba's tomb by top people from the RSS. When I got off from the plane, they said, first we go there, then we go there. So, to beat the conventional modes of thought, conventional linear modes of thought, it is required for us to understand that ordinary logic does not apply in this matter. And the word shunya, shunya does not mean nothing. Shunya means no thing. It's not nothing, but it's not a thing that I can define or you can define. It cannot be that shunya is nothing because this whole world is supposed to have come out of it. Now, the Vedantin will use the term Purna. Buddhists will use the term Shunya. I want to tell you this. When Adi Shankaracharya, the great I don't think anybody has done more to Advaita Vedanta than Adi Shankara. When Adi Shankaracharya started teaching in Banaras, the orthodoxy who heard him called him a Buddhist in disguise. Prachanna Bodhika, a Buddhist in disguise, because his definition of the Supreme Brahman, the reality, was so close to Shunyata that they thought that this guy is in disguise come to destroy our culture. Today, Adi Shankara is considered the greatest of. So, what the conventional thinking accepts need not always be right. You see, this is why I wrote. All great scientists, if they had agreed with all that was and said this is correct, we don't need to inquire, there would be no Einstein or any other great scientist or Max Planck or whoever. So, this is the reason why this Shunya character was introduced. It is to break the barriers. Once the barrier is broken, what you should do is written on the back. Nobody said it better than Swamiji. Of course, it is from the Upanishad that he quoted. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya. Yeah. So, now that is dangerous because you will face obstacles. There will be all kinds of problems coming up if you want to go to the truth because nobody likes the truth. We like to dress up falsehood into truth and present. We see it in human beings. We see the world is made up of human beings. Society, therefore, is like that. What we see is a presentation. What is the reality? Nobody knows. Now, for that, the brain needs space. It has to be empty. There is so much stuff inside. You need to clear it and keep it. If you don't have an empty vessel, how will you receive? The vessel must be totally shunya. What is received is purna. Let me put it this way.
So unlearning is also very important.
Unlearning is the most important thing because let's take Adi Shankara. His Vedantic teaching is one key word is neti. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. So finally, when there is something which cannot be classified as not this, that remains the truth.
So does thought process in a way come in the way of being calm and composed, or does it give rise to some kind of complications also?
Sir, to remain calm and composed, you can artificially, for instance, to live in society, pretend to be calm and composed. That is one side of the story. If you really are calm and composed, nothing will ruffle you. That does not come in the way of life. In fact, if you are like that, then you also develop fearlessness. And if you are fearless, then you can achieve and move forward to things which the person who begins to be afraid cannot move forward. So, what was your question?
Does thought process stand in the way of being calm and composed?
Look, here is a quotation from the Upanishad. Keno Upanishad. Yen manasana manyute yana hurumano matam. That which the mind cannot conceive of, because of which the mind has the capacity to think, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, understand that alone is the truth. Nedam yadidam upasate, nothing that you worship here. Yeah. Now, this is the highest Vedanta from the Upanishad. So, thought does, because thought is limited. Thought, all the mischief is, good things are also from thought, mischief is also. It's all included in thought. When I say, now I am free of all thought, who is saying that? Thought.
Even that is a thought.
Absolutely. So, it's only when one understands this and everything cools down, then there is something that the mind cannot, that the brain cannot touch. That can touch the brain. So, therefore, great teachers sometimes said, dump all this intellectual stuff, go directly. What they meant was open the heart instead of the brain. And when they said heart, they're talking about the ultimate, not the physical heart which is beating inside. No, no. As in English, they say heart of the matter. Like that, go to the heart. So look, Thakur Sri Ramakrishna did not go to school, hardly. Where did he get all his experience? Is it through thought process? Is it through education? He did not need to be unlearning anything because he never learned anything. There was no need to unlearn. Look, in his life, because we are sitting in the Ram. As a small boy, how did he experience samadhi? Through worshipping something or through no. As a young boy, we all know he was walking on the paddy field, eating some murmuri or whatever, age of 8 or something. And then he looked up through dark clouds in the sky, white swans flew through. There is now nothing connected with traditional religion here. He simply looked at it and said, Mago, and fell down. So that there are two things here. One is he's a special man. He's not an ordinary person. An ordinary person sees so many swans and hens and chickens flying. If he sees chickens flying, you would think, can we cook it for the night? Nobody says Mago and falls down in trance. So, one is this is a special being. Two, that being has nothing to unlearn. He has discarded all thought. When he was taken to school, he said, I don't want to go to a school where you only finally learn how to collect money and food, whatever he said. Exact Bengali, I don't know. So, yeah, so.
Collecting money from the school, he didn't learn anywhere.
No, he said, this is the learning through which you collect food, and he was going to be taught how to be a priest. He said, what is the use of this? And came out. He could hardly write his name. And look at the person he created. Well, here also, Swamiji was born with a potential. Thakur just cleared it and opened it up. And
so that is actually liberation? Or?
Liberation is a very difficult word to understand because it has many meanings. To be liberated from the ordinary mode of thinking is the first step in liberation. What is it? Normally, our normal mode of thinking is, We are born, we have to grow up, we have to get married, or whatever we have to do, then we have to make money. This is what we are taught from the beginning. We have to find a good job. To be liberated from that itself is a liberation. From that thought process, not the action, the thought process. After that, this is not, you are caught up in this world, I want to get liberated from it. Second step. So liberation has many words. Final liberation, which we call moksha, is to realize that there is nothing to be liberated. Everything is free already.
Already.
Which you will find in reading texts like Tripura Rahasya and so on.
But the challenge of the thought process might often be, there can be different kind of thoughts. You mentioned about Thakur. He used to narrate a very popular story. There were two friends. One goes to the temple, the other goes to, if I may take a leaf out of Shunya, toddy shop or Shurikana. So the person who goes to the temple, he is thinking, in his thought process, he is thinking, my friend has gone there, he is enjoying life. And the person who goes to the toddy shop, he is thinking, oh my God, he is earning so much of punya. So does that also affect this kind of thought process? Because these are actually contradictory thought process.
Look, thought is thought, whether it is about temple or whether it is about the toddy shop. Thought is thought. But when you go to a temple or when you go to a spiritual teacher, that is also thought process. There is no question. That liberates you finally from all this process. That is the most important thing to know. That doesn't. The other does not. Okay. The guy who is going to the temple, he may also drinking in his own way. He may be also drinking in his own way. He's drinking something else. This guy in the toddy shop is drinking something else. What he drinks is a permanent drink. What this guy is drinking is a temporary. Tomorrow morning you get up with a, what is it called? Hangover. And then you take tablets and you want to. But what this guy, the other person, is drinking is something that is liberating him totally. So there is a difference. But if you look at it as a thought process, it is all thought. See, that is why I told you about the Upanishad. Upanishad, after all this, then says, Tadeva Brahmatvam vidvi nedam yadidam upasati. About the mind, about the eye. Chakshushana pashyati, na chakshumshi pashyati. It starts like that. And then it goes to yan manasana manyate yanahurmanomat. Tadeva brahmatvam vidvi nedam yadidam upasate. All right. But to get there, if that Supreme Brahman, or whatever we are looking for, whatever, or Supreme Brahman and Supreme Shakti, according to Tripura Rahasya, are same. Okay. So now, if you are looking at it, then Thakur's story is wonderful. You know, the story about the M, the original M, who was here in Kolkata. When he went to Dakshineshwar Gardens, and he was sitting there, and Thakur came, and he heard that there is a Paramahamsa staying here. But he saw a person wearing white kurta. It was winter, so a black coat, nicely chewed pan, red lips. You know the color. And leather jutis. He didn't think that this was the Paramahamsa people are talking about. So he asked him, I heard there is some Paramahamsa. He said, oh, really? I don't know. Sit down. Bosho. So sat down. Then that dialogue is interesting. If the Supreme Brahman pervades everywhere, then where is the special place that we look for the Brahman? Because he asked him suddenly, do you believe in God? Yes, sir. What kind of God? He's a Brahma Samajist. I believe in the God without form. Okay, fine, that is good. But that God of yours, is he in one special heaven? Or is he pervading everywhere? Yes, he is everywhere. Okay. If he is everywhere, there is the temple of Kali Ma. There is an image there. If he is pervading, if the Supreme Brahman is pervading your Brahman, is there, then it must be there also, right? So how can you discard that and separate it? Right? So what I'm trying to say, okay, so then M says, but then you have to tell people that it is an image. And he said, this is the problem with you guys. You don't know anything you want to teach others. This is how the dialogue ends. Very true. Apart from that, what I'm trying to say is just as if the truth is all pervasive, Ishavashyamidam sarvam, then the good, the bad, the ugly, the terrible, they are all part of it. And our mind, in any mood, it may be, but still deep down, that stillness is still there. So it is not as if it can be separated from humanity. To learn about it, the mind has to be kept away from human action sometimes, which is why people become monks, but they don't want to do it because they full time want to figure out what is happening. They want to get disturbed and distracted by other things in life. Unfortunately, everybody cannot do that. But we should go with the principle that there is nothing here or there or anywhere which does not consist of the principle of the supreme reality. This is understood. You will also not disrespect anybody. How can you do that? Because there is divinity inside. That person may know or may not know. There or no? Then,
Divinity is there.
of course, divinity is there. Divinity is that which sustains us, although we think we are sustaining ourselves.
So you have written books on Upanishads also extensively. Upanishads also preaches like, you must question. So asking questions either from within yourself or from the surroundings. How important
Appropriate questions, not questions. If you simply keep on asking, questions will go on. Appropriate to the issue of trying to find the truth. This is what is meant by asking questions. And you will see the Upanishads are full of dialogues. Okay, now here is the son of a great rishi, Uddalakaruni, probably, I forget, probably Uddalakaruni, in the Chandogya Upanishad. The Upanishad is big, it has many stories. He says, the father calls him and asks him about the truth. So he has no words to describe it. Then the father says, you see the banyan tree there? Yes, sir. Bring a seed of the banyan tree. So he brings a seed. Peel it. What do you see? I see a banyan tree. Peel it. He peels it. What do you see? I see the kernel inside. Okay, peel it. Now what do you see? I see little seeds inside. Sir. Okay, now peel one seed. What do you see? I see nothing, sir. Then the father says to the son, it is from that nothing that this whole banyan tree has come. Now this is the mode of questioning, not simply questioning.
just for the heck of it, asking.
Of it. So then he realizes that what he thought was Shunya was actually Purna, because his entire tree has come from that. That is why in the beginning I said, Shunya is not nothing, but no thing, nothing that can be defined. And the Vedantin will call it Purna. Better way of calling it Purna.
Purna. Purnasya Purnamada.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadhuchyate. That means Upanishad, Shruti is not declaring that there is only Purna in the Purnamada, but Purnamidam also. This is also Purna. It is our mind that has made it a Purna.
Sometime back, I met Dr. Karan Singh. He was here to attend one family wedding. I just had a chance meeting with him briefly. So initially, I was not allowed to go inside and meet him, and I kind of played the tricks. I asked his secretary, just tell him that Sri M wanted me to meet him. And immediately I was called in. So very finally I could meet him. The moment I reached closer to him, he said, "You are from Sri M?" Oh, of course, I call him Mumtaz Bhai. Then he said, "Tell him, I'm still praying only. I'm not meditating." Then I
He
said,
always says,
"How do you know him?" I said, "I have translated few books of him." Said, "Why hasn't he written anything about prayer? He promised me he is going to write
"Oh,
this."
yeah."
So from that time, I was thinking, see, I mean, how do you differentiate between this prayer and meditation? Or
Look, prayer is something that comes from the heart of the human being because we are all in some way limited. So at least we have hypothesis that the supreme God or reality is not like us, it is unlimited. Except the Vedantin, of course, who says it is the same. Everybody cannot say Tat Tomasi Aham Brahmasmi and all that. So then what do we do when we are helpless? We pray. Right? The problem is that our prayers are always so specific that we get what we pray for many times. Sometimes you don't, but sometimes you get. But if the God to whom you're praying is omniscient, who knows everything, then do you have to tell him that this is what I want? No, just think about it. Otherwise you have to say the God I'm praying to doesn't know. He is not omniscient. Or she is not omniscient. But she is or he is. So when you pray, the best prayer I have seen, I wanted to write about what Dr. Karan Singh was keeping on write about prayer. I said, the best prayer is, I am praying to the omniscient, omnipresent, supreme reality. At least, if I don't know, at least I have a hypothesis. The scriptures have said so, many people have said so. Let's say. Therefore, I pray, you know best what is necessary. This is what I pray for. This is the best way. You know why? Very often, what we want is different from what we really need in our evolution. And most of us pray for what we want, not what we need. Because we don't know what we
don't
need.
know.
Right. So the best prayer would be. Otherwise, even when something good is coming, your prayer may interfere with it. And suppose the reality says, this fellow, he wants only this, give it. When something greater was about to come, I asked for something smaller and I got it. I'm happy. And if I don't get it, I keep cursing, what God is this? He is not. So understanding this, the best prayer should not be misunderstood as a chant. Like for instance, Purnamada, Purnamada, there is no prayer out there. Or Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havi, there is no prayer there. There is only a statement. Prayer is when I actually ask for. But the best prayer is, you know everything. You grant me what is good for me. There is no better prayer than that.
So that can also lead to some kind of calmness and
Combination?
calmness, calm and composed.
Of course, because you are helpless. We cannot, when you are helpless, we are in deep trouble, we are in deep sorrow, you cannot sit down and say, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. It's not possible. So we pray, everybody prays. You see great beings like Thakur praying, oh Mother, come for me. It's a prayer, right? It's not a statement. So for ordinary people like us, what can we do? Sometimes we have to pray. But this is the best, you know. Please give me what is right for me.
So submission and surrender, those are part of good prayers.
Absolutely. These are part of prayer. But when you say submission and surrender, it's not so easy. Submission when I was with Maheshwarnath Babaji, one day I don't know why, near Jaipur, I was sitting near the desert actually, in Jaisalmer. And I said to him, Babaji, today I have surrendered fully to you. Acha? He said, वो दिख रही है ना बावड़ी सामने? You can see that well there? I said, yes, Babaji. You could जाओ अंदर. I said, but why should I? You just said you surrendered everything. Where is your doubt? So when people say they surrender a little bit and keep the rest for themselves. It's not so easy to surrender. So better not to even discuss surrender. Because it's an ultimate thing. If one person is totally surrendered, he's free of all misery immediately.
So what Girish Ghosh did to Ramakrishna in Bengal is called Bakarmat. Does that means kind of surrender?
Yes. He said, you keep my power of attorney. You know how easy, how difficult it is to do that. People write to me, email me, please take my power of attorney. I'm thinking, the man is mad. If I take the power of attorney, this guy will sink. But seriously. So these are all things we have to be careful about saying. We are not ready for that yet. So till then, pray for the right thing. There is no harm in prayer. It is good to pray. But please add this prayer also. In the ultimate essence, please lead me to you. Now I have this problem.
So one has to reach there to submit and surrender.
It should start from the beginning itself, saying that ultimately, if we consider God to be omnipresent and omnipotent, then ultimately it's in your hands. This is what I think. I'm asking for help. I surrender. And it should be to the supreme reality, not to any human being, mind you, especially in Kali Yuga. If you surrender to a human being, you never know what's happening. He may take away all your checkbooks and run away.
So would we get to see or read something on prayers also going forward? And so much to know about prayers also.
You know, it's interesting. There are simple prayers in all religions. Simple prayers. Most of them say, give me this day my daily bread. Forgive. You know, this normally there is no harm in it. But what I'm saying also with this prayer, keep this in mind. Please lead me also to the essence of my evolution. Why am I here? What am I doing in these silly little things? Is there something? Please also lead me there. This should also be the prayer. Lead me not unto temptation, but deliver us from evil. Bible prayer.
So there are distinctions in prayers also.
Of course. There are prayers for oneself. The best prayers are for others. Through praying for others, you purify your mind until nothing remains for you to pray except to be one with the infinite.
Now, slightly digressing, other than this novel on Upanishad, on meditation, you have also written short stories, which are also equally fascinating. And through these short stories also there are messages. You have picked up characters. I mean,
Yes.
while going through these, one wonders that why did you pick up these characters?
Yes.
Of all persons? There are butchers, there are a thief, and so many characters, and even persons and people with negative shades, apparently negative shades.
Yes.
So, what are the kind of messages that you wanted to give?
Look, there is no, I don't think there will be very rarely a human being with no negative traits at all. Traits, very few. So most of us, look, it's like this. In Sankhya, there is a discussion on the gunas. Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. Basically, three gunas which govern our nature. Please, everybody has these gunas. But ratios are different. Some have more sattva, some have less. For instance, if you don't have tamoguna at all, you cannot sleep because sleep is part of tamoguna. It's not as so. Everybody has a certain proportion of these gunas. When one becomes more sattvic, problem is many people misunderstand tamoguna to be sattva. I mean, whole day they sleep, they don't do any work, they say, oh, we are in sattva guna, everything is over. It's not true. This is the opposite. To wake one from tamoguna to sattva, rajoguna is important. Activity, this is why Swamiji said, you guys please work, do seva. You cannot meditate 24 hours a day. Right? So, then from tamoguna you lift and go to sattva. Sattva is calmness, of course, but not the calmness and inertia of tamoguna. It's a highly evolved calmness and goodness. A person in sattva guna does not mean harm to anybody else. Sattva. Then slowly, we cannot do anything about this after that. The sattva also falls off. Then one says gunadit. You cannot aim for it. You can only aim up to sattva. Then from sattva, patience, calmness, slowly everything goes up and there is only the reality. So therefore I am looking at the whole gamut of characters in this world from tamoguna to sattva-guna, which is why there are several kinds of characters in the short stories.
So it's all about degrees that matters, or there are qualities, maybe good qualities and bad qualities in each one of us.
Everybody,
it's all about degrees.
Nobody has only good qualities. Everybody has some. There are special individuals sometimes who come into this world who have hardly any bad qualities. Even such people, to remain in this world, they will develop a little bit of tamoguna and get some quality. Otherwise, they will fly off. There are people who are so sensitive that all the time they are mostly likely to go into a trance. What do such people? They say, give me something to eat. Or some, they have come here to teach, and therefore they go off and sit. What is the point? So they say, oh, give me some sandesh. So it's not as if they're dying to eat sandesh, it is to pull you down. Now this is very rare. It doesn't happen once in a yuga, maybe it happens. The rest of us are always in the sandesh, not in the samadhi.
So while in many other books, it is very common that there are some opinions which gets embedded about some particular characters, but in your book, for instance, there is no value judgment.
There is no judgment. Yeah.
No judgment at all. Even the butcher, what he did, you mentioned and narrated what he did, but never said whether it was bad. Or...
Because I cannot say something is bad. I don't see anybody like that. Nobody is totally bad. Everybody has an element of goodness in them. And also good, bad is a very relative thing that we have worked out in society. What is good for me may be bad for somebody else. Yes, I would say that the less selfish one is, the better one is. This much we can say.
So how do you treat someone when in practical life or real life, we come across someone apparently who may look to be not so good? I wouldn't say bad, but not so good.
You have to be careful. You have to take measures that will don't trust everybody and carry on with life. All that is true. But let me tell you personally, I don't have anything against anybody. If they want to take me for a ride, it is okay. Anyway, death is going to take me for a ride. Maybe early, so.
But there are concepts like, oh, he's like an emotional fool. He's being hoodwinked every time he comes across people like
That
this.
is nice. If somebody calls one a fool, it's a wonderful thing. Okay. You are happy because you're a fool. Nobody will ask you anything. That's fine. But because of that, one should not give up kindness. In the long run, kindness is a wonderful thing. It keeps them happy, it keeps my mind in peace.
So it's better to be hoodwinked than to hoodwink
No,
someone else.
I didn't say you should be good. You should be careful. Like, if you read I think, Gospel or one of the texts, you will find so one of the direct disciples was sent by Thakur to go and buy some vessels. This is very practical. He went and bought some vessels, and Thakur looked at it. These are horrible vessels, and you have paid double the cost for these vessels. And he said, I know what that fellow would have told you, shopkeeper. He would have praised me that yes, Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna is a great man, and also you got fooled. So you bought for double the price bad vessels. Now, this is not to be spiritual. He was nicely pulled up for that. So you have to be practical. You have to. I'm not saying that you should be taken for a fool and like that. All I'm saying is, deep down, there should not be hatred. That's all I'm saying. Nobody is entirely good and nobody. That hatred is the thing that creates problems, not anything else. You can be careful. You can lead your life. Sometimes, in some cases, you might have to give a slap to somebody. But that slap should be something to make that person better, or because but it should be it should not be hatred. You know what I mean? That this fellow is
The
evil.
purpose and intention should be clear.
It's not difficult to live like that. I'm telling you. We have worked out a complete design in our lives and say this is the right way to live, but may not be.
Coming to your other book, which is Journey Continues, I mean, it has been a really long journey, I mean, from common man's point of view. But having such a long journey in different contexts, different time frame, in different surroundings, and to get adapted to different situations, particularly when you know what happened that time, how difficult is it?
It is difficult. I wrote that only because Babaji said, go ahead and do it. Because I know it's a terrible book. You know what I mean? Terrible book. Nobody need to believe it because it's my thought. What happened to me in my past, and nobody even need to believe it. But I had to do it because I was told do it. So I did. So at least this much is clear. Today I'm sitting in a position, not here, I mean this position, is because of all that one went through and learned lessons that we have come here. It's also an indication to all people that moksha, there is no shortcut. You have to go through many things in life before you come there. If anybody says there is a shortcut to moksha, then you are being fooled. Run away. So keep your bank balance intact. Don't give the OTPs to anybody. Because if anybody says there is a shortcut, there is no shortcut to moksha. People get there only through experience, through meditation, through hard work. To show that, I wrote this book.
I may be thinking aloud, but this has been a very long journey over lives,
Right.
so many lives. But in one
We,
life,
all of us sitting here, have passed through many lives. Some know, some don't know. That is the only difference. Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna very beautifully, you and I have lived many lives. Only difference is you don't know and I know. That's all.
but in one life also there can be many curious turns and twists.
Of course.
Which
One
can
life
be
itself
described
is
as
enough. We don't even have to think of past life. If you start from the time you are born till the time you are here, you have already passed through many things similar to past lives. Very similar. What all roles we have played, right? From childhood, one role, then when you grow up, another role, then you are an adult, another role. And we think we are the same, but we keep changing. We think we're the same, but we change. We keep changing because we have to react to the situation.
You mentioned many things about Thakur Paramahansa. You keep, mentioning about him and many of his stories. One of the occasions you were just going back from Kolkata to Dakshineshwar, and somewhere near Shambajar he found a group of young people, they are enjoying and completely drunk. So he asked the car to stop and he got down of the car. And then he started enjoying with those guys. Then he made a very remarkable statement that we all are drunk. Only the object of getting drunk is different.
Yeah. Look, let me tell you. If you cannot get drunk, life is not worth living. Not alcohol. So, those who cannot do that, sometimes maybe indulging in a little bit of alcohol, it's okay. But they should be told there's something more precious, man, to drink. Then they, because in this life, it is difficult to live without at some point forgetting what's happening. And why do people drink? Because then the central nervous system is paralyzed. So they are free from the usual thought process that is going on. This is why people drink. We are saying that there is another great drink available to us. I'm not talking about ayahuasca or all these fuskas that are going on now. I'm talking about inside experience. When that happens, then life is worth living. You know? Otherwise, you're always grim face, working in something should free you. And that is the spirit. That freedom is the greatest freedom. It is imitating that people drink. In fact, a great Sufi once said, Akal ke madrase se ut, get up from the school of your intellect. Huh? Something else. Huh? Ishke mai khade mein yaha. Come into my bar where I give ishq to drink. Jame fana ab bekhudi. Now that you have drunk the wine of bekhudi, meaning self is not there. Then what is your worry? Jo ho, so ho. Whatever happens will happen. This has to come from inside, not from the bar outside. But I don't dislike people who have a drink. I know what the problem is. I have freed myself, but I hope others have to.
So from there one moves to K Sara Sara. Whatever happens.
Yeah, whatever will be, will be. In Palghat, they say, the Brahmins of Palghat, they say, what things when will happen, oh, that things then will happen, happen. So, it's like that.
So we started with Sunya and we'll also come to, we'll have to come to an end, although wish we could go on discussing about these things. In Sunya, this chief protagonist, the character, disappeared as suddenly as he surfaced.
Right.
So when will we get to see him resurface and how?
I've been thinking about Shunya too. So let's hope that somewhere he comes back. I'm thinking the next Shunya should be a lady. Why only men? So let's see how it happens. The problem is nowadays I'm so busy, engaged in various activities, not getting a time to sit down and write. Sometime of Ganga Kinare Kutir dhund ke, sit there and do some work, then it is possible. Not possible.
So it comes to your mind, then you start writing, or you start writing, then it...
No, it is already there. but if you put it down in writing, then it becomes streamlined. It's scattered at the moment.
Somewhere there.
Somewhere in some part of the brain it is resting. When you put pen to paper, I cannot directly type into a laptop. If I look at a laptop screen, my mind also goes blank, like a laptop screen without anything. So I have to scribble actually, and somebody types it for me. And then
The process gets delayed somewhat. Can we take some questions from them? Since we have maybe 15, one or two questions.
I know what the questions are. So I don't know whether there is a point in doing that. Huh? If you have any more questions.
No, my always question is, you actually led us to think. We started with thought process and thinking. By saying that so many things at the back of your mind about how the next Shunya will be, now we will keep thinking that, acha, Lady Shunya, how she will
I don't know, I'm saying could be. You know how to deal with ladies is very difficult. Sorry. So,
But if it's a novel, you can take some liberty.
liberties.
So in your books, and many of the books, some of the political characters keep coming, and the way you have portrayed them is like very candidly, you are being very upfront. Even after that there also there is no value judgment per se, but you mention the way they are. Even from people from different walks of life, you portray them even gurus.
Yes.
So how is it that you describe them in a way, then you keep meeting some of them here and there?
I don't try to meet, they want to meet me.
Either way, you have to meet.
It is like that. If somebody in a responsible position is sitting, even in the government or in politics, that person is there because God has blessed that person. Otherwise, he will not reach there. So it is our duty to give respect to that. I cannot discard. But I personally have no desire or intention to meet anybody. They would sometimes want to meet, and I have no objection to that. I meet people, talk to them. Problem is that since we are on the search for the truth, it is very difficult for politicians to speak the truth, unfortunately. Because if you do that, you cannot join politics. You have to think one thing and say another. Then only you can manage in politics. So, but that doesn't mean that they are also human beings. They have their own responsibilities, they have their own problems. So if they talk to you and want to take some help, I mean, you cannot say no. I mean, also you should say yes because they are in that position because there is some blessing, otherwise they won't reach there. This is why I give respect to such people.
And as you said, no one is 100% bad or 100% good.
No, there is no such human being, including me. I also have some bad habits. I like rasgulla. Huh? Like I like good, what is that, Sandesh?
Non good.
Not and good something. I have some things like that. And I have another big problem. I'm a little frightened of women. All this. It's a bad thing. Nothing wrong with them. But women can be either nice like Lakshmi Saraswati, they can be Bhadrakali also. So that aspect, I'm a little bit even after all, everything, creation starts with Shakti. According to our Tantra, Agamas, according to the Agamas, when everything is at rest, there is only Shivam. When there is movement, kinetic, then it becomes Shakti. So, what I'm saying is we have to be careful. Otherwise, Shiva without the Shaktis, he becomes Shava.
So there is something called mind also, which wants to go here, there, everywhere.
Mind is only a collection of thoughts. Conditioned, the brain is conditioned by the circumstances in which you're born and how you're trained, and the five senses operate. So, right, it's quite normal and natural. But when the mind learns to pull in the senses inside and enjoys what is inside, then slowly it gets free. You can't leave it blank. Like you cannot have a vacuum. If you have a vacuum, air will try to rush in. In the same way, if you say, I want to keep my mind, it won't work. You have to engage it in something as enjoyable or somewhat enjoyable as the outside world, inside. This is where all worship, all aradhana, everything comes with this. Then you have something to fix your attention. Then, when the mind gets purified, then it becomes quiet. Suddenly, we cannot jump into that. It's very difficult. I know there are exceptions. Adi Shankara took sannyas at the age of 12. So, I mean, everybody cannot do that.
And when you mention about this from Upanishad, of course, that teno taktena bhunjita, let go and rejoice. People often tend to make some mistake about what is this giving about, let go. If you could explain what exactly.
Letting go doesn't mean that you get up one morning and say, my car I am giving to my cook, my briefcase and my bank account I am giving to my, oh no, that is dangerous. I was about to say my wife, and so on. But you letting go means not to carry the hurts and feelings from yesterday to today. This is the greatest letting go, which means not to form an image of somebody and keep it always in our heads so that we don't see the person as the person changes. I know people who have lived together for 30 years, 35 years. Probably they saw their partners only on the day they got married. After that, images have developed. Images are looking at images. There is no reality. It's the problem. So, that's what I mean. Let go and see. If you have slapped me 20 years ago, why should I carry it in my head? Can I not let go? Because the slap is over, actually. But no, my mind, my brain, oh, he slapped me, he slapped me, he slapped me, he slapped me. It becomes a wound. And I hope I can slap you back. 20 years have passed, the slap is over 20 years ago. Why am I carrying this? This is what I mean by let go and rejoice.
Bad experiences?
If it is good, please keep it. Don't discard it. But even that, in a way, is dangerous because then you would keep expecting those good experiences all the time. And that also becomes a bondage. See, when something happens which is nice and good and beautiful, do not try to stretch it. Sit and leave it there. Tomorrow, even this happens in meditation. One day, I had a wonderful meditation. Let's say it was nice and blissful. Next day, no, it's not happening. You know the main reason why it's not happening? Because I want to bring back the experience that I had that day. Which means I am consciously blocking the new experience from coming. If I had not blocked that, today might have been something different. But no, I want that only because I enjoy it. Let go that also. Then today will be a new thing. Very often it happens.
So mind is also like a hard disk kind of thing. If it is full,
Absolutely. It is a hard disk. There is no question about it. And if you know it's a hard disk, you will know how to take it out and throw it.
You have to keep it clean after some time.
Clean it, because it is full of stuff. Now, you won't believe this, it also has stuff from your past birth.
But that is very difficult.
True, when you see trends happening in your life which you least expected, you should understand this is from somewhere else coming. Cannot be from this life.
You have to keep your mind alert on those things.
Look, you can be very happy in this world even without living in a palace or driving a Rolls Royce. I'm telling you, you can be happy in this world. It's the mind that creates the problem.
That actually stops you from being.
And if you're peaceful and quiet, you will see that even people who have in the material world made big, they are people who discard what has happened and move forward. Even those people. Because if they get stuck to failure, then they will always remain failures. They cannot go to let go and rejoice. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. It's from the Upanishad. Upanishad is saying, do not covet other person's wealth. Let go and rejoice. But from childhood we are taught gather, gather, gather.
So we are also often taught contradictory things, like somebody says that Ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Karmanyevadhikarasya ma phala. Then there is another saying also which says Bhikkhu tomar naam ki, this is in Bengali, phalei tomar porichoy. Phalei no porichoy, which means your identity, your real identity lies in the outcome, how you, kind of carry yourself.
Look,
the result.
It is like this. No work on this earth can be done without having a goal. You cannot. How can you do it? You cannot. But the person who suffers is a person who is always worried about the outcome. It's not that there should not be an outcome. There has to be an outcome. Without outcome, why would I do anything? But when it happens, if the outcome is not good, then I start suffering. There is the problem. If the outcome is good, it's okay. It moves on. If the outcome or what I aim doesn't work, then I'm in shambles. I spend useless time and energy on crying and being desperate and being instead of saying, okay, done, step forward, let's see what is the problem. Learn from your failures and mistakes and step forward. This is the secret. And for that, you might have to change your mode of thinking sometimes. Most people are not ready to change their mode of thinking. They will stick to that brain design which does. 1 second if you change it, life is different.
So these are like real sadhanas actually.
Of course, sadhana is not only sitting down, closed eyes. Somebody asked Ramana Maharshi one day, when I sit down and close my eyes, my mind is wandering. What am I supposed to do? He said, wander, then your mind might become still.
Actually, you mentioned about dialogue, that from Upanishad only, that it's all about, all our Indic philosophy and scriptures, they talk about dialogues, continuously.
Yes.
So through
Gita itself is a dialogue.
Hmm.
Even though mostly Krishna speaks and Arjuna here and there is allowed to butt in, but it's still a samvad. Samvad is very important base of our philosophy of this country. Without dialogue, nothing works. The moment dialogue stops in any field, spiritual, political, business, there is bound to come failure after some time.
Through dialogues, I don't know, I'm again thinking a lot. Through dialogues, you fill up your heart, mind, brain, whatever. You also or keep kind of empty spaces there also, because the moment you talk, many things comes out, and then
Yes. True. To indulge in dialogue is to empty your mind. That person also should empty. Then only it becomes.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's a
Meaningful
monologue.
dialogue. So even that has to be a meaningful dialogue. I hope we'll continue to have many such meaningful dialogues.
Let's have a retreat in Calcutta at some point first. Step one. Then we can at ease sit down and discuss these matters, not like this. Huh?
In February, you said.
If they allow me to talk and all that, instead of sticking on.
In February, you promised we are going to have this.
Let's hope so. In February, let's have a retreat, 3-day retreat somewhere in Kolkata. Then we can take up a subject and have an elaborate discussion on it. Not discussion. A retreat is not meant for only discussion and dialogue. It's also meant to understand certain things. Take up a particular scripture and work on it. And practical, of course. Tomorrow, if you announce it's a Kriya retreat, you will get 1,000 people. But nobody wants Upanishad, for instance. So anyway, think about it.
We can have session on Gospels also.
Gospel, yes, we can have, but many people will not be very happy with the Gospel, because everywhere it talks about Kamini and Kanchan. The Kaminis will be angry and the Kanchan will become this. So, yeah, we can.
And there will be no horse standing there with a bell on his neck to say, miles to go before I sleep,
Yes.
Promises to keep.
Yes.
Those things needed to be avoided there.
We'll see. First we'll have a date, then we'll think of the subject, then we will do it.
We will definitely. Thank you.
So, I need to, this is the problem. I'm sorry. Do that.
We all will do it together.
It's in February, maybe.
Thank you so much for coming and giving
Om
this time.
Shanti Shanti. Shanti.